Oak Park Board of Education meeting to order. Ms. Greer, would you please call the roll?
Corcoran. Here. Alvin.
Here.
Goodfriend.
Here.
Hoda.
Here.
Klein. Lunkins.
Here.
And Smith.
Here.
Okay, it appears we do have a quorum. The public will be provided with an opportunity to comment at the meeting under public comments. Members of the public who wish to provide a comment must fill out a comment card and may bring the card to the stage and hand it to Trustee Albert Smith. To my left would be your right, and at the beginning of the meeting or at any point before we arrive at the public comments part of the agenda. If Mr. Hoyda, if you wouldn't mind the recitation of the district mission and vision.
Our inclusive learning community provides the best academic and social experiences by educating the whole child, one child at a time. And our vision is cultivating visionary leaders and compassionate citizens to be engaged with the global community.
Thank you so much. The agenda was shared with us prior to today. Are there any additions to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, without objection, we'll pass a motion to approve.
Excuse me, but
Yeah,
I
we
cannot
can't hear you.
you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. It's just a little struggle.
Can you hear me any better now?
Yes, hey.
A whole lot.
All right, let me get it a little closer to myself.
Oh, man.
All right, is that it?
Yeah, that's much better. You see Mr. Smith's face.
He couldn't hear me either? Okay, never
No,
mind.
none of us. We weren't playing.
He could hear me, but he could probably see me talking too,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
he might have an advantage. Okay. I asked if there were any additions to the agenda.
No.
Okay. Hearing none, without
Okay.
without objection, we'll pass a motion to approve the agenda by unanimous consent. Is there an objection? Hearing none, then, since there's no objection to the approval of the agenda by unanimous consent, the action is hereby decided upon and the agenda is passed. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes, approval of personnel actions, financial statement for January and February 2022. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
A motion has been made to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, motion made by Hoda, supported by Smith. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none.
She
Ms.
got a
Greer-
question down here.
Okay, I can't see, so raise them high. Okay, here's.
That's as far as the hand goes.
Thank you for your assistance, Trustee Corporate. Go ahead, Ms. Goodfriend.
I want to thank Dan for bringing us closer to up-to-date on our numbers, and I appreciate it. I feel more we have something going on in there. So we're only 2 months now. Is that correct, Dan?
Yep.
Thank you very much. You've done an admirable job. Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Corcoran. Yes. Alvin.
Yes.
Goodfriend.
Yes.
Hoda.
Yes.
Lunkins.
Yes.
And Smith.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to reports. We have one report this evening, and that is from Dr. Jamie Hitchcock.
Good evening. I first want to start by taking a moment of silence for Rico Moore, a 2018 alumni graduate of Oak Park High School that tragically passed away. Today we mourn the loss of Rico. Today we mourn the loss of Rico, who was in the Oak Park High School Marching Legion and in the class of 2018. He is beloved by his classmates and is known as a mentor, a leader, and gifted trumpet player. He performed with Detroit's own Big Sean during his performance at Ford Field. He was attending Texas Southern University and a participant in the Ocean of Soul Marching Band. Our thoughts and prayers are with Rico's family and friends during this difficult time. Rest in power, Rico, as many of his friends refer to him as, may his memory be a blessing. We will continue to update the staff as well as community if and when we receive any of the information about Rico's services. I also want to remind our community that on Friday, April 15th, there is no school for students. Staff will participate in district-wide professional development. On Thursday, May 19th at 6 p.m., here in the Oak Park High School auditorium, they will celebrate and honor our seniors on Senior Honors Night, for Senior Honors Night. So we will have that wonderful event here in the evening and recognize all of our students for their tremendous scholarship. This afternoon, I participated in a center equity work group with members around the state in response to, you guys, I'm sorry, with members of the MDHHS as well as members of the Heroes Circle around addressing Governor Whitmer's executive directive addressing racism as a public health crisis. We discussed a variety of ways that the Heroes Circle has supported mental health in our school district in particular for not only students but supported adults at the height of the pandemic. And they continue to provide that support and are working to transition back to supporting our students in person and our staff in person. So it was wonderful to share the amazing opportunities that we've had to really focus on mental health and wellness. We're very proud that the program has extended beyond the K-5 level and is now at Oak Park Preparatory Academy at our middle school level, teaching our students about various skills to improve their social emotional learning, as we know that unfortunately during the pandemic, not having the opportunity to engage socially with other students kind of stunted the growth of many students throughout the nation. And so we're very proud of the curriculum that they're using at Oak Park Preparatory Academy. Additionally, I have been asked by Rabbi Goldberg of the Heroes Circle to speak on a panel discussion with the Michigan ACE initiative. ACE is Adverse Childhood Experiences at their annual conference. The panel discussion is called School Violence: Is There a Relationship Between Adverse Childhood Experiences? Their goal is to increase efforts and establish interventions to ultimately make a difference. The panel discussion will take place on Thursday, May 19th in Lansing, and I will share additional information as we get closer to the date. This year, our Oak Park Marching Legion will participate in the July 4th parade. Everyone is very excited. It seems like a sign that things are getting back to normal, and hopefully we are now putting COVID-19 behind us. So I just want to recognize our band aide, Mr. Walker, for his support in partnership with the city to ensure that our students participate in the parade. And last but not least, on the same note of COVID-19, we agreed to reassess the mask mandate for the district 2 weeks following spring break. So at our April 25th board meeting, we will share a recommendation to the board, largely supported around a survey that was sent to our entire staff, where we had about 247 participants respond to the survey. So in addition, with the input of our district nurse, we will make a recommendation at the April 25th board meeting around whether or not we should continue to require all individuals in a school setting to wear masks, or whether we will make a recommendation to the board for it to be voluntary. So please look forward to that recommendation on April 25th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Hitchcock relative to her report. Trustee Klein.
Dr. Hitchcock, what were the results of that survey? You knew it was coming.
That's the report is coming at the next one.
I do have the results of the survey,
You
but
know how
not
many
to
people
tip my
responded.
hat. I'd prefer to wait and get additional input, make sure any final people who are interested in participate, and that we have some healthy conversation with our district nurse before sharing too much information. But, you know, it's a controversial topic, but I am going to let the people make a decision, but that'll include our district nurse in her consult. So I'll share that information after I have a chance to share those results with the district nurse.
Has anybody surveyed the students?
No, we have not surveyed the students.
There are 4,000 students that we're forcing to mask up every day. I think that they should have some input.
Sure.
Can we survey the students?
We can, absolutely.
I support that.
I would also note that, I'm sorry, were you done, Trustee Klein?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Jump in.
I will also note too that I'm hoping that we're continuing to monitor what the COVID numbers are doing as they are starting to show an upward trend and trajectory again. So I just hope that we're considering all the factors even as you do your surveys.
Will do. The idea to survey the students is a great one. We'll follow through with the survey of our student population as well as our staff, and we will be prepared to share that information with the board on April 25th.
Trustee Hoyda.
Parents? Do we?
We have not surveyed our parents, but we can. We can survey our parents too. We'll survey everyone. We will survey our parents, we'll send the board a survey, and we will survey our students, parents, and add those surveys to the staff. And see if there's, any difference at various levels or if it's consistent across the board.
Can you tell us what that survey looked like that went out to the staff? Was it just,
It
Do
was
you-
very basic. Would you like to continue the mask mandate for everyone? Or would you like to have a voluntary mask mandate, and the individuals who want to wear masks will wear one, and those that don't?
I don't know if this needs to be said now, but I think that I would like to see the students also asked if they appreciate or enjoy wearing masks, or if they feel that it's a pain.
I think that we're getting a little bit outside of our swim lanes. So I am going to gather the information that I've been asked to gather. We'll survey the students with some very direct information. We don't want to use a lot of educational time and dedicate educational time or instructional time to a lengthy survey. We'll get that information and we will make a recommendation based on the other stakeholders in our district. Thank you.
Any other questions relative to Dr. Hitchcock's report? Nothing. Okay, we've come to the part of the meeting where the public has an opportunity to address the board if it so desires. Public participation is one-way communication in which members of the public are asked to address the full board with the understanding that board members will not be able to respond. Trustee Smith, would you please provide the public comment guidelines?
Yes. Because the Oak Park Board of Education values public meetings, not just meetings in public, we welcome public comment on school issues. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due process for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by public comments. The public comment portion of the meeting cannot be used to make personal attacks against a school board member or school district employee that disrupts the order of the meeting and are totally unrelated to the manner in which the member or employee performs his or her duties. Speakers should be aware if statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy. Such comments may result in legal liability. Most comments can be concisely stated in 3 minutes, and the board respectfully asks that comments remain focused on the topic or issue and not be directed at specific personnel or board members.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Do you have any comment cards over there with you?
No, I don't.
Okay, are there any members of the public who would like to address the board? Going once, going twice? No go. Okay. All right, none, no public comments today. All right, so we'll move on to information items then. Security camera system update. Stephen Melkor, hope I said that right. Director of Technology. I really hope I said that right.
I'll give you his name. He'll share his name.
Good evening. Stephen Melchor.
Melchor.
No problem.
I was like focused on that this weekend.
Stephen Melchor, Director of Technology. Good evening. Thanks for having me. Tonight we're asking for your approval on a security camera system upgrade. We know this has been a very hot topic over the last few months.
Keep going.
Information.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is for information, correct. So, security camera system upgrade. Oak Park Schools is in desperate need of an overhaul, district-wide, interior and exterior cameras. Since the fall, Oakland Schools technology staff, as well as our security engineers, have been doing an audit of the existing system. We've been working on putting together a proposal for a complete overhaul, brand new cameras in every building, interior, exterior. We completed that assessment just after the first of the year. That assessment essentially outlines with maps and cameras exactly what we would need to create full coverage in all of our buildings with a new system, new servers, new cameras, and a new interface. One of the strategies that Oakland Schools uses is when one of our field service districts goes out for bid for a proposal, we put in language in the request for proposal that the awarded bidder will offer the same unit pricing to all school districts that Oakland County serves. In December of 2021, Lapeer Community Schools went out for bid for a security camera system upgrade. They were in the same boat that Oak Park was. They needed a complete overhaul A to B. So we put out a bid on the streets. We received bids back from 8 vendors. We took the 3 lowest bids, and our technology team, as well as our Oakland Schools security engineer, evaluated all of those bids. So that bid was awarded to a company called CBTS, local here in Troy. And they have agreed in that, as part of that bid process, to offer those pricings to all districts in Oakland and Lapeer counties. So what that does is it takes us, it removes a step for Oak Park so that we can get our system going, we can get cameras ordered. One of the main reasons we awarded CBTS, not only with price, but they adhered to our technology specifications. We have a history with CBTS. They provide excellent work, excellent installation. They're actually the company that Oak Park has been using recently to help us kind of maintain our current system. So so that bid was awarded. So CBTS has put together a proposal for Oak Park based on that unit pricing. So that the total of the project comes to $576,202.04, and we would also like to add a 10% contingency for that project. This would be purchased out of bond funds. There is already a line item in the bond for security camera system upgrade, and actually we came in under that dollar amount with this proposal. So that's what we will be asking for you to approve. Are there any questions?
Trustee Smith.
Yes, Mr. Melkor, will this system, because of the fact that a lot of the technology service in our district are centralized with Oakland Schools, will we be integrating this, or will it be a standalone system as well?
Yeah, so this will be, Oak Park will be on their own system, so it isn't like it's not shared with any other district, so Oak Park will have their own instance. This will be something that will be housed out at Oakland Schools in their data center, so that it will receive all the benefits of the Oakland Schools data center as far as cooling, server space. The great thing about this system is we have engineers on our Oakland Schools team that are familiar with this specific system. We have this same system in many of our districts across Oakland County.
Okay. So who would be responsible for like server security in regards to?
Oakland Schools.
Oakland
Oh,
Schools.
yeah, Oakland Schools, technology, network engineers.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Ms., okay, Trustee Corcoran?
Yes. Good evening. You stated that it was coming out of the bond money in regards to the funds?
Correct.
Okay. The other question that I wanted to ask you was, Mr. Smith just asked you a question, was it gonna be integrated? So the system, can you talk about a little bit about the system? You just said upgrade, like what we have now to what we're upgrading to?
Correct, yeah, so this is a completely brand-new system. It runs off a software called Milestone. Milestone basically creates a, views for cameras. We're gonna have, many more cameras. And basically what we do is we basically lay out the camera views in the software so that it makes logical sense as to like the locations of the building. So it's really easy to track. With the brand new servers that we'll be implementing, we would be able to have a 30-day retention on video storage. So that, along with the state-of-the-art high-resolution cameras, these cameras are fantastic. The Hanwha brand actually is under the Samsung family, so it's a very quality camera.
Trustee Klein?
How old are our current cameras?
The camera system that we have now, a variety of ages. It's one of those things that it seems like it's been piecemeal together over the years. So that's why we're finding a need to basically do from the bottom up rebuild, all brand new cameras, all brand new wiring, brand new servers.
Can you point to specific deficiencies in our current system? Like what's lacking that causes the need for the upgrade?
Yeah, so it's really just a gap in coverage. Over the years, certain cameras have been replaced, certain cameras haven't. We're going to all digital. Now we have a mix of digital and analog cameras. So it really is just standardizing and creating a full coverage area. So because we were able to walk the buildings and map out where the new camera locations will be, we'll have basically full coverage. So we won't have any blind spots or any gaps in coverage.
Was an assessment done of where the gaps are and what it would cost to just fill the gaps otherwise? And to provide some context, there are a lot of projects here to use money for. And if you can change the alternator, you don't necessarily need to buy a new car. You know what I mean?
Right, well, and that's kind of what has been happening over the years, and it's kind of gotten to a point now where it really did need a ground-up build. The system's antiquated, the cabling's antiquated, the cameras are not state-of-the-art, not high resolution.
Are they failing?
They are failing, yes.
In what way?
Their cameras are actually just failing. They're aging. They're not clear pictures. We've had cameras die that haven't been replaced over the years, so we have those gaps in coverage.
Is this a risk of theft or vandalism or student violence? Tell me what the risks are here.
I mean, a brand new security camera system that creates full coverage, internal and external of all the buildings. I mean, that really just gives the district a peace of mind knowing that they have eyes on all their buildings and all the students.
Is this new camera system closed circuit, where it records for X amount of days and then it just runs
so
over
it records live movement, so the cameras can tell when there's movement, and that's when it records. And then again, a 30-day retention.
Are there people at Oakland County schools that are watching the cameras all the time?
No, not at the district. No, that would be a district access only.
So it's not prevention, it's just afterwards we can find out what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, the district can choose to give access to whomever they like to the system.
Can they be viewed remotely or from, I guess if you're saying that other people can? So we
Yes.
could set up, for example, a post where somebody's watching cameras,
Absolutely.
and we could presumably do that from anywhere
Sure. Mhm.
on any sort of internet-enabled device.
Correct.
I can share some practical uses of the cameras. I would say, first of all, they are preventative. Students, staff, many individuals and visitors know that we have cameras recording consistently, so it deters some behaviors. It also helps us address and contribute significantly to any type of student any type of student or staff investigation. And we frequently have to investigate issues involving student issues or staff issues. And student issues in particular, without having access to these cameras, we would have to rely on the cameras of the students, the individual iPhones or cell phones of the students, to take video recordings of the incidents that have occurred. Right now, our cameras, and I hate to tip our hat, but for the purpose of this conversation, there are many cameras that are cloudy, so we're unable to tell, in some cases, depending on which hallway, which space, which school, which area, the actual identity of the student. The cameras have been sort of disjointed in some cases, so in upgraded systems, a student wearing an orange hoodie, you can follow that student throughout the school. In our cases, there were a variety of cameras just on the screen at one point in time, and you'd have to flip through back and forth multiple screens before you could see the student walked in the door, they went to this room, then they went to that room, then they talked to another student in another room, and then they walked out the building. We'd have to flip through several cameras, which would be hours and hours of footage before we were able to understand where exactly that student was located. In addition, incidents that involve the police, being able to access that information is helpful. I would say it's preventative because the cameras are on at various locations, specifically here at the high school. They're monitored in my office. They're monitored by the director of security. They're often monitored by another staff member who sits at the front desk. So we can see an incident on camera before it starts to unfold in many cases. So if we understand that there's a conflict of some sort, we can contact the administrators or security in the building to go to that specific area. And then finally, one of the key components in the security assessment that we had done through Secure Education Consultants was to upgrade our camera system. And lastly, when we went to the voters last spring and asked them to support the bond, one of the components in our request was an upgrade in technology. And we did share with community members that one of those key pieces was the safety that the camera system provides.
Thank you, Dr. Hitchcock.
Thank you. I have
Is there another question?
I do.
Go ahead. I see Trustee Goodfriend.
What kind of, how do I phrase this? Are we talking about a camera in every classroom, 2 cameras per classroom, so we have front and back?
No cameras in classrooms.
Okay.
That's a very big no-no.
What did he say?
But this will be covering.
No cameras in the classroom, Trustee Goodfriend. Can you
This will-
talk into the mic because she's having trouble?
Oh, I'm sorry, yep. No cameras in the classrooms, hallways, exterior, common areas, every space that would be allowed to have a camera in, they would be covered. So it's not necessarily the number of cameras, it's the coverage.
But it would be basically everywhere outside the bathrooms in the classrooms.
Yep, especially outside of bathrooms and areas like that.
Thank you. Oh, I just want to make a comment. If we have cameras that don't work, it could be especially important to replace them, because if somebody thinks that there is a camera providing them safety and then it's not there because it's broken, it could be a potential liability.
Yeah.
I don't say that as a lawyer. I'm just throwing it out there. School law is a very complicated thing, but it might be an issue.
You threw the word in liability. You said it as a lawyer. Trustee Goodfriend.
No attorney-client privilege.
Trustee Goodfriend.
Yes.
I see you, Trustee Corbin. Trustee Goodfriend.
Corbin has a question too.
You're up next.
Okay. What my question is to Mr. Melkor is this only in the high school and OPA, or is it in all of our buildings?
Every building.
Every building, okay. And do we have cameras in every building now?
We do.
Okay. And then primarily, when we talk about this high school, there are all these wings. And I would hope that that's been taken into consideration. There are a lot of places.
Absolutely. We
They
have
cannot
specialists that do this
always-
in districts all across the county. We walked every building. We have one of our security engineers is very well versed in this and has done this all across the county. So we're very, very confident that we will have full coverage in all buildings.
Thank you.
Trustee Corcoran?
Yes. We mentioned everything in regards to the schools, but we didn't mention if it's going to cover our track and field. Is it going to cover the field, the football field?
I do not believe we plan to put cameras at the football field.
Okay, because we have one there now, if I'm not mistaken. So would that just be obsolete, or are we going to just continue to leave that one there?
I don't have that on my proposal, but if the old system would be demolished, would be pulled out. So all the old cameras, non-working cameras, the whole system would be done. So if we have existing cameras, the nice thing about the new system is it's scalable, so we can add cameras from different manufacturers if we like. So if there's a camera at the field, I don't necessarily know that that was on our radar, but that could be easily added to the new system.
I could very well be mistaken, but I do not believe we currently have a camera on the football field.
Yes,
We have some cameras that face outdoors, but,
I thought there was a camera that was in
in the press
booth?
box,
yeah.
no.
Oh, okay. So, again, I guess we have cameras facing the field. So those cameras will be, because they're not inside, they're outside, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So those
Complete
will be
exterior
replaced?
exterior coverage of
Oh,
every
okay.
building.
Surrounding.
So how many are we gonna have outside? The ones that are outside the building now, or do we have any outside the building?
We do, yep, but everything's going to be replaced with
Oh, I
brand-new
got you.
high-definition cameras to create more or less like a 360 perimeter of every building.
Yeah, that was, my next question is the width. Like if one camera, like how much space does it cover? 'Cause I know
Depending on the area that the camera is in, depending on the hallway, the location, it varies. We have from 109-degree cameras to 180 to 270. So just depending on what the area required was basically what we plotted out in the plan.
And I believe you stated, or just to be clear, that it's not about the coverage of the camera, it's to make sure it's the coverage of the area.
Correct,
Right,
absolutely.
yeah, got it.
That's what I was talking about, the coverage of where the camera is focusing on, right?
Yeah, it just depends on the location and what kind of camera that location, whether it's a hallway, whether it's a corner, whether it's a stairwell, they got the appropriate angle cameras for the location to provide the coverage.
Yeah, I just would like to know, like, exactly, like, if we're, because I know, is this system based, like, in a mall, how in a department store where it covers, where it's gonna clear basically all the dead areas, as you spoke of, the dead spots?
Correct,
So
yeah.
there will not be any, or
That
that's
is-
what we're gonna try
That is
to do?
correct. That is why we've used a multitude of cameras strategically placed to create full coverage.
Quick question, are we voting on this tonight?
No, we're not,
Okay.
it's just information.
I have a question. Do we have cameras at,
Come a little closer to the microphone. Thank you, Trustee Love.
do we have cameras, you know how you go down B wing and A wing and you got those back doors that the kids sometimes sneak out or let somebody in? Do we have cameras back there?
The new system will have all entrances and exits completely covered.
Even though they're not supposed to use those enter or exit on a regular basis?
We based our assessment and our proposal based on just providing complete coverage of every building.
Okay.
Anything else from the board? Okay, hearing none. We will, thank you, Mr. Melchor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now go to 2022 Summer School Overview, which is information item 6B. And Dr. Hitchcock, you're going to handle that one, please.
Yes, I'm going to give a very brief update. Unfortunately, Ms. Baptiste, our Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, had a sudden death in the family, coincidentally, as a result of COVID-19. So she asked if I would just share a very brief update about our summer school program. So in years prior, our summer bridge program took place over the course of 3 weeks. And with the changes that we made last year and the success of the program last year, our 9th grade summer bridge program will take place over the entire summer from June 27th through July 28th. We will also offer K-5 summer programming, 6-8 summer programming, a 9th grade summer bridge program, 9 through 12 credit recovery, and extended school year for students with 12-month IEPs. The summer school director posting is now available, and our teacher job postings for the summer school positions will be made available on April 12th. Students and families will be able to apply beginning Thursday, April 14th. If you have any questions that are specific in the meantime, I would ask that you, if you're a community member, to address those directly to Ms. Baptiste, the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning. If you're a board member and have a question, I would ask that you address Ms. Baptiste and CC me with any questions that we might be able to respond to that are specific around the summer program. I know that they're working hard to build the programming, and any specific questions may not be able to be resolved because much of it will rely on staffing. And our hope is that our amazing teachers that dedicated their summer last year to support the summer school program will do that again, because we had tremendous success, particularly around the teaching structure with OIL, our Oakland Youth Innovation Lab, and the kind of mimic of OIL at our middle school program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hitchcock. We will now move on to information item 6C, Lessinger Cafeteria Furniture. Barry Pfeiffer, Interior and Environment Account Managers. Is he here?
She's here.
Sorry, Barry. I apologize. I'm really messing up the names today.
Thank you so much. I believe the presentation of the proposed plan for the cafeteria is in the packet that you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, and I apologize, I'm looking at, Dan has been kind of working with me on this. This is separate from the previous furniture for Lessinger because this comes out of a separate budget for cafeteria furniture, I believe.
I'm going to address this. I'm not Steve Burnett. I'm Dan Phillips. But no, this is a project that actually is a continuation of the furniture that's going on with the Lessinger School. The cafeteria tables originally were going to be taken out of sinking fund. However, we have a window of opportunity with our cafeteria fund to where we can purchase equipment from there, and that's what we're taking advantage of at this time. So we're able to use some of the excess funds from the cafeteria that we are mandated to use, and that's part of the plan that we're coming up with for this. And this is for, it's kind of like adjustable furniture for the cafeteria. It can be used for other means other than just food service, and but that's what Barry is. Ms. Pfeiffer here is going to talk about if you have any questions for that.
Any questions from the board? Trustee Smith.
I think I'd like to defer to Trustee Goodfriend. She had her hand
Trustee
up.
Goodfriend, I'm sorry, I didn't see it, sorry.
Dan, I would like to know, is this young lady that's with you or came here and you're helping out in some of the financials?
I'm having a hard time.
Financials. Who is this young lady?
Well, this is Barry Pfeiffer from Interior Environments.
That's what I wanted to know.
I'm
That
sorry.
was my first question. The second portion of it, and I did see it on my desktop at home, and I looked at some of the things. Are we addressing for small children, or is it looked, there were some pictures that were for young teenagers?
This
And-
is going to be all for younger child care, for the
Just-
younger children, yes.
Just for the younger children, not,
Well, I'm sorry, that is about half-half. It's about half for some of the elder, I'll let
I
Mary-
can go through you. So we plan this with a multi-purpose intent. So half of the tables and chairs are scaled to the children that would be utilizing the cafeteria, and half would be at a standard adult height seat and adult table height. So that way the cafeteria could be used for more than just children eating at lunch or breakfast. It could be also used for both students and for adults and caregivers and the like.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Now, in regards to the funds from cafeteria, is that the cafeteria fund that we know that I see in our financial papers? Rather than saying $600,000 or whatever, I'm just picking a number out, that we're in the plus side. We can use those funds that are in excess for that year?
That's correct, yes. And we're developing more plans for those funds too, because it's basically a use it or lose it program.
Right.
So we have excess funds that we need to use, and we're working with Plant Moran on coming up with other food service expenditures for that.
I think that's great. I think that's just absolutely great. Thank you very much.
Trustee
One
Smith.
other thing is, who are the manufacturers that are the furniture companies that will be providing? We see nothing, we get no pictures. I'm not accustomed to that in all these years that I've been here as a parent or as a board member. We've had the opportunity, the board has had the opportunity, as well as the community, to have visual, pictures, okay, showing exactly what it would be. I think that's terribly important. It's money that comes from the community, and all of it is tax dollars in one way or another, that we just don't get that information. And I would hope that that's something that we would be able to have provided to us, since this is still an informational item.
Trustee Goodfriend, there were pictures in the packet.
Manufacturers too.
And I
And the
think-
manufacturers too, it seems, if I
And-
could be wrong, is it Art Cobell
Cobell,
and
Smart.
Equalis Group?
Okay.
And then
Polycom.
HON, Omnia contract, something like, it's there. Yeah, so all of that information is in the packet.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Trustee Smith?
No,
All
my
set?
question was answered.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, thank you so much. We will go to Board of Education
Unsatisfactory.
meeting location. Dr. Hitchcock.
Yes, so right behind us, you'll see this wonderful stage that has been set up for our upcoming school play, and we are also having a dance recital in this space. So our staff has respectfully asked if we would be willing to move back to well, they haven't asked us to move anywhere. They basically said, we need this space to put on our student performances, and we certainly understand that. So in addition to the actual performances, they have to have practice, and they need the space in order to do that. So my suggestion is that, since the numbers, we have seen a decline, if we would like to move back to the administration building, or I'm recommending that we move back to the administration building, boardroom, so our students and staff can have this space again. If we find that the numbers creep back up, then I guess we can pivot back to this space, but for now, I'd like to allow the students and staff to use this space.
Are there any comments from the board on that? Trustee Hoyter?
Are we prepared technologically to move back to the administration building?
I've been told that we are.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to speak to that, Jim, or,
There you go, Jim.
Thumbs up, thank you. Trustee Corcoran, did I see your hand go up?
No.
No? Trustee
Ms.
Goodford?
Goodford is here.
Is this for a permanent location that we will be back in the board building?
It would be as we will monitor the COVID numbers and
Of course.
and that would dictate whether we have to move back
Of
in this
course.
space or not.
Of course, but looking now, it seems pretty good.
Today.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Are there any other questions from the board?
I would like to ask.
Yes, sir.
So with that move, will we be allowing public
course.
participation physically at the location
We
as
have
well?
to.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
Any other questions from the board? And the board has no issue with this, I just want to be clear. I'm not hearing anything. Trustee Corcoran?
Yeah, I just basically just wanted to say that it's a good thing, I guess, for some and a bad thing for others, for us to go to, back to the administration building. But is this move only because of the play, or, because it sounds like it's only because of the play?
I think Dr. Hitchcock also noted the COVID numbers are in a good enough space where we can do that, and it probably would have been contemplating it anyway.
Okay.
But yes, that's a part of it, but I think the bigger part is the fact that COVID numbers have declined
Yeah.
pretty at a decent rate.
Right, because the COVID numbers had declined, I guess, like a month ago. That's why it just seemed like as if this was the only reason, but I understand that the numbers are going down today, but
I think
we'll
it's
see.
a nexus of both of those
Okay.
things. The numbers, the request being made by the staff to use this space and, like, in order to practice with, at the same time, us seeing a decline in COVID cases, while having conversations around whether we should even wear masks anymore. So, just gauging that makes it seem like we could accommodate our staff and students by moving back to the board
Understood.
office. Now, in the event that something goes awry and we start to see things skyrocket, we'll have to make different plans.
Understood.
Anything else from the board? Okay, sounds like we're good to go then.
Thank you.
Information item 6E, MASB behind the scenes at the Capitol Training Event, Vice President Hoyter.
So, every year, the Michigan Association of School Boards holds an event in the spring in Lansing to come together from around the state, around school advocacy issues, and also to meet with some of the decision makers and legislators in Lansing. This year, the event is the first week in May. If I am able to attend this year, and so I'd like to attend on behalf of the board and would invite anyone else on the board that would like to attend as well. I've attended in years past, and it's been a very helpful way of understanding more about the way things work in Lansing, and also helping bring our information to those decision makers in Lansing so they can understand more about our needs.
Thank you, Trustee Hoyter. Any questions or comments from the board?
What dates are those, Mr. Holder?
May
I want to say it's May 4th. We've all been receiving the emails from MASC, but I can double check that.
Yeah, I was just asking for the public. I did see the emails.
I think it's May 3rd.
May I suggest that that information be sent to all board members? Dates and time, et cetera.
Again, it's in the emails that we've all been receiving from Michigan Association of School Boards, but I can locate that and share it.
Would you,
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
it's
It's
when?
May the 3rd.
May the 3rd, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board on this matter? Hearing none. Okay, we will go to item 7, call for closed session. Trustee Klein, would you read that, make the motion, please?
Resolved, the Oak Park Board of Education enter into closed session for the purpose of Session 8C of the Open Meetings Act.
I'd like to,
Should that-
a friendly amendment to that, if
Yeah.
I can.
Pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act?
So, if I could,
Go ahead.
resolve that the Oak Park Board of Education enter into closed session for the purpose of collective bargaining strategy pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act. Would you accept that amendment?
Absolutely, President.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Klein, seconded by Smith. Are there any questions on that motion? I can read it again if I need to. Resolve that the Oak Park Board of Education enter into closed session for the purpose of collective bargaining strategy pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act. Any question on the motion? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Lunkins,
Yes.
Hoda,
Yes.
Goodfriend,
Yes.
Elvin,
Yes.
and Copeland.
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So we're at item 8, closed session, OPEA 2022,
Are we doing that?
23 wage reopener.
Are we having the closed session in this room, or are we
No,
moving?
we're moving
No,
across
we will
the hall.
move. So we'll go into closed session at this time. Thank you.